And so with these, and we've already touched on quite a bit, the number one issue that we've gathered is the status of the school choice bill. And so in no particular order, if you'd like to weigh in on perhaps what that bill is going to accomplish and where it is right now as far as legislation is concerned.
Well, I think I'm actually the only one on the education committee on this panel here, so I felt like that'd probably be good for me. So the governor's initiative is going to touch on between 6 and 8 areas. I talked to Keith Brooks, who is going to be the primary House sponsor on that bill. The governor is working with a very small set of lawmakers, of which I am not one, trying to work out the details on that bill, trying to make it as ACLU proof as possible. There's currently 6 initiatives. They are potentially looking at 8. Once they get the policy down that they're wanting to do, they'll then send it to DLR for drafting, and then at that point they will start including the rest of the lawmakers, getting our opinion, and I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks probably get a bill filed that we can start getting into more detail. So I don't know.
So I just came off of chairing education the past 2 years in the Senate, and I am working on some language with this bill. School safety is going to be addressed, and I know that that's a big part of the policy that's part of her LEARNs. So if you listen to her speech is and back to the campaign and what she talked about with Arkansas LEARNs and what LEARNs stands for, those are the different areas that I think she's going to be addressing pretty boldly in this reform. A couple of things that I'm going to be looking for is we have to understand that our school districts will apply for federal grants, and a lot of those federal grants have direct strings attached to them that requires the inclusion of diversity, equity, and inclusion type policies and procedures to be put into place on school campuses. Some of those grants come through the CDC, others come through Department of Ed and USDA even too. So I'm looking at to see if we can contain that so that we can not have those school districts apply for those federal grants directly, because that's where a lot of our problems are actually coming from. So this is going to be comprehensive, and I want it to be comprehensive, because if we just keep fighting this fight and passing good legislation, but yet they still keep accepting the federal dollars that direct them to do all these things, then we're just not winning. So we've got to make sure we cover all the bases. So that's one area I'm kind of working on, and then the school safety stuff is something I've been working on since 2013, so I am working on that language. And literacy is a big, big key as well.
Anybody else want to say anything on this?
All right, thank you. All right, the next most common thing that we had on here was immigration. And so I guess a general question about what legislation is tackling this issue and what do we have against the progress.